In my last video, I lamented all the things about Fuji that frustrate me, and one of those things that I brought up that tons of you guys agreed with me on was the fact that you cannot shoot with old bodies and newer film profiles. Although many of you brought up the point that older bodies don't have the processing power for some of the newer filmic profiles. At least that's what Fuji has said about some of them. Probably another argument would be that older X-Trans versions would require some tweaking for the newer profiles created for newer X-Trans versions. Maybe Fuji isn't willing to do that. Fine, maybe some of that's true in a few cases, but it doesn't explain every case, such as not bringing classic negative to the X-T2 in an update, or the X-T200 not shipping with Eterna. And that makes me think that just as likely is that Fuji just wants you to upgrade, and the color profiles represent a carrot on the stick for getting a new camera. But I get comments regularly from folks who have no need or desire to upgrade to a new Fuji camera body, or who simply can't afford and wish that they could use classic chrome, for instance, on their X Pro 1. Or in my case, where I would still love to shoot with the Fuji X70, since in 2020 there still is no adequate replacement for that excellent camera body and the wide angle compactness that it provides. But the only reason that I don't is because it lacks the filmic profiles. Now, there are plenty of Lightroom or Capture One presets out there which will try to mimic those filmic profiles, but what we really need or want is the ability to switch the profile before any local edits in RAW editors. The good news though is that there is a way to do it, and a way that is potentially free depending on which tools you want to use and which you use currently, and which doesn't have to take a huge amount of extra processing, especially if you're already using Capture One in your editing workflow. But before we dive into it, I do want to tell you that if you're looking for some help with your Fujifilm post-processing workflow, I will be releasing a course to our members soon, which will walk you through multiple post-processing workflows, help you get comfortable with everything from data management, using the raw editing tools out there like Capture One, Iridian, Lightroom, with your RAW files, and basic to advanced retouching techniques as well. So if that sounds interesting to you, be sure to join our channel as a member at the student level or higher for this and other workshops. All right, we're on the computer. So to do this, there's only two pieces of software that you need. The first is Capture One. The good news is you don't have to have the full version. So if you don't want to pay for Capture One, you don't have to. You can get Capture One Express. And Capture One Express, some people are confused of the difference. Just make sure that when you order it, you sign up for the Express version. If you aren't sure where the link is, go to captureone.com, and in the footer, you'll see a Capture One Express link. Make sure that's the one that you register for, and then you'll get a license key. When you download Capture 120, we'll download the full version technically, but you'll put in the license key for Express. That will get you everything you need to be able to change the IPC profile. And what I mean by that is when you go into Capture One Express, you'll see here I've got representative files from the X70, X100S, X-T2, X-T3, and X-T4. So we've got a good span of generations of X cameras. So if we look at the X-T4, when you go into, you'll start out here at the library. If you go over here to the base characteristics, and that first drop down, you'll see the ICC. Did I say IPC before? I meant ICC. The ICC profile. It's a Fujifilm X-T4, of course, is selected. And they call it the curve. That's what's referring to the filmic profile. So you'll see that you have access to all of the profiles, the newest being Eterna Bleach by, I can't say that, Bleach bypass, my, beach. Why do I want to say beach? I think it's because it reminds me of being on the beach, honestly, but it's the bleach bypass. So here we have the bleach bypass filter selected, but you'll notice, of course, we look at the X-T3, we look at the curves, we see Eterna Cinema, we do not see the bleach bypass filter here. And you know, going back as far as the X70, we don't get any of those. We get the silly ones that it shipped with, which were not as cool as the modern filmic profiles that we have now. So that's a bummer, but I want those. So how do I get them? The way we do it is by spoofing the EXIF data. That just means taking the metadata associated with the file, the raw file, and changing it, saying that, pretending like the file was taken with the X-T4 or a new generation of X camera. And really, that's all you have to do. So since all we really want is the ICC profiles, which are already built into Capture One already, by the way. These are their version of Fuji's filmic profiles that are shipped inside of the software on the bodies of the cameras. So the ICC profile that Capture One has is actually a mirror of those ones. It's not actually the exact same profile, and I'm not exactly sure how they come up with it, whether that's something they get directly from Fuji or not. But in my experience, it's very close. It's very adequate. I actually like Capture One's better than Lightroom's even. And Lightroom also has their own. So to change this curve, the unfortunate thing to me is that these curves are available. They're not available. They're inside of Capture One. Or Capture One, your system already has those ICC profiles, but for whatever reason, we are restricted. We cannot use the X-T4's ICCs on the X70. I suspect that it's, like I said earlier, this is a different version of X-Trans, and it's not technically correct to apply a newer filmic profile, which was built for a newer version of X-Trans, to an older one. So that's okay. We just want access to it. We'll deal with the fact that there might be some minor differences. But how do you get it? How do you get those ICCs available to your older bodies? It's actually pretty straightforward. You just need to edit the EXIF data. And there's lots of ways to do that. There's lots of programs to do it. I'm on a Mac, so the program that I like to use is one that's available in the Mac Apple Store. It's the Meta Image app. It's a little more expensive, 17, 18 bucks, but it's the best one that I've found. There are others. There are some that are a couple dollars, some that are free, but this one works the best in my experience, and I've used a lot of them. You can use the terminal or command line editor. That's what a lot of people do, especially those that are a little bit more tech savvy. That's fine, but I prefer to have something that's got a WYSIWYG, that's got some interface to it, but also allows me to batch in an easy way, and this one does. So I'll grab those files, I'll drag them into Meta Image, and this is where it gets super easy, not technical at all. All I have to do is take the software, and in this case, this photo is taken with the version 1 of the X-T4. It doesn't really matter which version, just as long as it's the X-T4 here. And just paste it over these other software versions. This is gonna be heresy to some people. And then just changing the camera model as well to the X-T4 is really all we have to do. And once we've done that, all we've got to do is process that. So sometimes this crashes when I process it. It's not a perfect app, but usually it works. So now that I've done that, I will take them into Capture One Express, and you will notice that, of course, on the X-T4, I do have my bleach bypass. Now on the X-T3, look at what we've got here, X-T4 generic, and if we scroll down, we've got Eterna bleach bypass. X-T2, we've got access to classic negative, which we didn't have before. X100S, we've got access to classic chrome, which looks really great here. X70, we've got access to Astia. It's great, it's exciting. And that's all there is to it. Now, once I export these, I can change them back too. That's the other thing. So for those of you who are like, yeah, but you change the EXIF data, now it's forever gonna go down in history in my library as if it was taken with an X-T4. Well, yeah, but it's actually really easy just to change it back. Again, all I have to do is grab those files, bring them back up into Meta Image, and change the camera back. You'll see that the software has been changed anyway. It just shows that it was processed in Capture One 20. So now all I've got to do is just go back and change them back to the original camera that they were taken on. And that's it. Then they'll be correct in my library if you're the type that worries about that. So potentially 2 extra steps in your process, but it can be batched as well. If you're using all the same camera, all the same raw file, you can do all of that very easily. You can change the value once and it'll change it for all of them. But that's it, and for me, this is really exciting stuff. It opens up or renews my interest in some of those older bodies. So if you've been thinking, man, I would sure love to shoot with the X Pro 1 or the X70, like I said, or even if you're an XT200 user that's frustrated that you don't have Eterna, well, now you do, you guys, so no reason not to do it. Anyway, love to hear how it goes for you. Are there other ways? Is there an easier way to gain access to the ICC from camera to camera with Encapture 1? I tried to find different ways, but this is the only thing I could come up with. So if anyone knows of a better way, please let me know. And for those of you who are interested in a little bit of help, a little bit more guidance, either at the mentorship level or just having access to our workshops, like I said, we'll have a post-processing workshop coming out very soon. Then be sure to check out our memberships below. And in the meantime, remember to do good with your cameras, guys. We'll talk to you again real soon.